themselves.
Greetings. My name is Mytrahh Pam, a student at Clayton State University, young entrepreneur of a nationwide company called Taximize Accounting, and I wish to come and share some hopefully some valuable opinions about some solutions for the world.
That's what's up. Yes.
Beautiful. How you doing? I'm Miss Flanagan with Christ Revolution Hip Hop Church.
Dave Wiseman, better known as the Fluent Thinker. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
All right. Well, we're going to get started today. We're going to deal with several topics. We're going to deal with a situation in Liberia, this being the last year that the UN is going to be occupying Libya, and they're going to pull out. And so we have a fellow Christian by the name of General Blight, which better known as General Butt Naked, and General, I think, Osama bin Laden, and there's two bin Ladens, but basically we're going to deal with the situation over in Liberia. Mm-hmm. We're going to deal with guns. We're going to deal with the Second Amendment, and I know last week Wiseman talked about executive order, and lo and behold, Barack Obama has some executive orders rolling, so we're going to deal with that. So let me give you a slight introduction to Liberia. Let me just give you a quick background. Settlement of free slaves from the U.S. in what is today Liberia began in 1822. By 1847, the Americo-Liberians were able to establish a republic. William Tubman, president from 1944 to 1971, did much to promote foreign investments and to bridge the economical, social, and political gaps between the descendants of the original settlers and the inhabitants of the interior. In 1980, a military coup led by Samuel Doe ushered in a decade of authoritarian rule. In December 1989, Charles Taylor launched a rebellion against Doe's regime that led to the prolonged civil war in which Doe himself was killed. A period of relative peace in 1997 allowed the elections that brought Taylor to power, but major fighting resumed in 2000. In August 2003, peace agreement ended the war and prompted the resignation of former President Charles Taylor, who faces war crimes in The Hague related to his involvement in Sierra Leone civil war. After 2 years of rule by a transitional government, democratic elections in late 2005 brought President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf to power. The UN mission to Liberia maintains a strong presence throughout the country, but the security situation is still fragile, and the process of rebuilding the social and economical structure of this war-torn country continues. And with that being said, everybody on the panel here has seen the documentary. I'm gonna post the documentary for you, the YouTubers. Mytrahh, you had guns, you had drugs, cocaine, marijuana, M16, M14s. Where are they getting all these weapons? I remember Charles Taylor on the documentary just telling the U.S., we need more guns. So, what's going on here?
We can always speculate, and in fact, many times, if you trace the money, and a lot of those things are available for public record, where the guns came from, and where the funding came from, and what generals have connections with what countries with regard to funding and weapons.
Okay.
They're not making it in Africa, so
right.
They're purchasing them from somewhere, and in fact, a lot of these struggles are being funded by outside groups that wish to somehow gain some type of advantage on a good or a product that country can provide, whether it be oil, rubber. Like rubber is
That's right.
it's a very valuable capital good that they have there, And companies like Firestone have been known and have been in litigation about the ways that they're taking advantage of Africa, destroying the environment just to take the rubber, so these things happen when it comes to making money. And countries without the infrastructure to really defend themselves against gangsters with suits.
Wow.
Very good.
That is very good. Ms. Flanagan, there are two things I forgot to mention that Liberia has other than the guns and drugs. They have liquor stores and churches.
Okay, sounds like America.
Churches on every block. In fact, the council, they figured, you know what, the War Tribunal, you know what, Mr. General Bly, a.k.a. Butt Naked, since you're a born-again Christian, you know what, all sins are forgiven. So what's your take on that, Just even though this man done cut out the hearts of young children, ate blood and killed me, he said no less than 20,000 people. Christianity, I guess it's all good, huh? You just forgive the Lord and hallelujah and kill all them people and it's all good, huh?
Well, number one, why wouldn't they forgive him? Because he was working for them.
Oh, okay.
That's what you have to always remember. He was on their side.
Oh,
From the very
okay.
beginning.
So that council, that was just all made up then?
And a lot of times people can say they are a Christian, since you like to use that term a lot.
That's what he claims. He's a Christian vegetarian,
Well,
by
at
the
least he
way.
don't eat flesh anymore. He's not going around eating hearts.
Thanks to Jesus.
Yeah, hallelujah.
Hallelujah, amen.
Okay, whatever. Really and truly, I can't even give you an answer on that one, because if you're working for the bad guy and if the bad guy decides he wants to forgive you, he has the right to forgive you. It's just simple as that. Period. Christian, Muslim, atheist, white, black, fat, skinny, if they decide they want to forgive you, they can do that.
I recall, I think Christianity is only forgiven in that bunch. I don't think the Muslims are too forgiving in that. I think, in fact, there was a situation where a girl was beheaded and she was underage in Saudi Arabia, but we'll get back to that.
Well, since you want to mention that, once again, like I've told you 1,000 times, you cannot categorize people and put people in categories. He could be a Christian, and I could be a so-called Christian, and he could be a Christian, but all of our values and ways of doing things could be different. He may believe in beating his child with an extension cord.
So would you forgive Butt Naked for all them atrocities, all them
It's
crimes?
not my job to forgive him.
Sure it is.
No, it's not, because
I'm giving you the authority.
if
I'm king of the black atheists, so I'm giving you the
Okay,
authority. Will you forgive him?
Here's the key then, if you're going to give me the authority.
Will you forgive him?
Here's the key. He may be forgiven, but he still has to suffer the consequences of those crimes.
So as a Christian,
that
what kind of penalty would you give him?
Death.
Oh, well, that sounds like a dang Muslim.
No, there's a difference.
Well,
You
that's
have to
not
understand
forgiveness.
what forgiveness means. Just because you forgive a person does not mean you get away from the consequences.
General Bite,
that
you see what your fellow Christians think about
But see,
you.
that's not, you don't understand what forgiveness really means. You can forgive somebody.
Right, let's just
But
freestyle
they
it.
still have to suffer the consequences. You reap what you sow.
Dave, you
Period.
got to come in here because I'm confused. That's like the
Period.
whole doctrine. You forgive people, but then you kill them. What is going on here?
Well,
the
what
situation.
Yeah, what it appears that they're doing with him, if he is being managed by somebody over him, that they're utilizing his political authority in the community, the fear that he has put into people, as well as the respect, the sick respect or sick honor that people give him, and they're utilizing that clout that he has when he walks around. Like there's Butt Naked, and now they take that same power that he used to take young children, put a gun in their hand, and now they're using them for the next purpose, to per se bring them into the church. So one could say that the Buddha has, the same power to convert you or to, turn you into the worst of sinners. So.
Wow. Okay. Wiseman.
And looking at that, when I view the video, and my brother just spoke about the sick concept. When I seen General Butt Naked actually confessing and saying, hey, this is what I do when I go out to war. He said, I kill the little children, eat their heart out, drink their blood.
Okay.
usually sometimes there's a start for that type of stuff to happen.
That's right.
You just don't just do this unless it's a start.
Break it down, Dave.
So I had did some research to find out the start.
Okay.
And the Spartans and the Hittite used to do this way back when they used to go out into war.
That's
'Cause
right.
General Buck Naked said, when I go out and fight, I go out and fight buck naked.
That's right.
Well, the Spartans used to do the same thing.
That's right.
They used to go out and fight buck naked, and then the wounded soldiers, what they would do is they would have sex with them.
That's right.
And it'd be
To
a
humiliate them.
Yeah, humiliate them. They'd have sex with them, and they'd have anal sex, and they would call it doing it the Greek.
That's right.
So when I looked at the concept, I was like, oh my gosh. I said, where does this stem from? And then looking at the video, I kept seeing that Liberia flag,
Uh-oh.
the colors,
The red, white, and blue?
the red, white, and blue. And I kind of thought when I went back and did some research, the red, white, and blue here in the United States has done the same type of thing.
Well, I mean,
The red, white, and
That's
blue
right.
of Great Britain has done the same thing.
That's right.
The red, white, and blue of France have done the same thing.
Mm.
So I was like, oh my gosh. But all of this was done way before the time of Liberia. That's why I said you got to find a tracer.
That's
Where
right.
does this information come from? Why do you do this? And when it comes to the thing about the arms and the guns, when you looked at it, all the arms that they received, secondhand guns. There was nothing there was, if you're gonna give up some type of resource, the resource that was given was all secondhand guns. And it's just like, here, you use this to do what you need to do as far as your people.
Just like those secondhand drugs.
Exactly.
Those secondhand needles.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So when we got secondhand drugs, we got secondhand needles, what does that do?
Just like Charles Taylor's secondhand puppet.
Exactly.
Secondhand destabilization of a country.
Exactly.
Okay. I see a pattern here. Okay.
And it's a clear pattern.
Okay. So we got.
Everything works in patterns and systems.
Okay.
Even the whole universe was designed by a system, not just out of some chaotic order. Everything has a system and a pattern, and like you said, everything stems from a foundation of something. So I'm gonna let you go ahead to your next question.
Okay. Well, my next question. Why destabilize? I mean, this might sound like a redundant, silly question, but why destabilize the country? Why not pay the people for the rubber? I mean, why? Cause, I mean, why don't, like China, they come in, they build some roads, they build hospitals, they give something in return. Why just suck the country dry? I mean, they don't even have a sewage system for the bathrooms. Well, what's the problem? I mean, isn't there plenty of rubber to go around? I mean,
You're asking me to explain the motivation for evil. It's only out of hurt. Only thing that would motivate somebody to lash out in that way against the entire people is that they themselves don't respect life. They don't respect themselves. They don't respect where they came from. And then, out of that, they inflict that type of heart onto their father, mother people, where they came from. So, it's just out of ignorance, ultimately, that people would do anything that crazy, don't understand the law of equal exchange. They don't understand the opportunities to build continuing relationships, healthy relationships across, the world. They maybe don't even respect Africans as intelligent people to, build constructively with. Just a leech, just there to leech off of whoever they can take advantage off of.
Okay, now you said equal exchange.
Right.
Now, I know this is your first time here. We've talked, Brother Dave, he's talked about socialism. Ms. Flanagan, she's talked about capitalism. And so, we've had some differences on economical solutions. Can you elaborate more on this economical exchange?
That equal exchange, it's like taking the consideration that this person's life is just as valuable as your life, and what they need to live is the same thing that you need to live.
Okay, so now, because on the world we live in, I only know two economical concepts. I know capitalism and I know socialism, just based on my trip in Cuba. So, I mean, what would that fall under as far as like equalism? Because it sounds like a blueprint to a working economical system, but I mean, but people, they only know two concepts on this planet. Or maybe would you come up with a third one? Or would you come up with more of a socialist program where, would you say equal exchange? I mean,
it'd be difficult for me to categorize it, but the most experience that I have with it is in the form of community, in the form of natural order, the order of the commune, where people wrote treaties and they engaged in not only just trade and barter, but as well as find currency, exchange of currency, but we're interested in building relationships with people rather than in war at all, because eventually if capitalism only leads up to war, it's automatic equivalent. Capitalism equals eventual war, because you're going to take over somebody by becoming a monopoly.
Okay, I'm gonna let Pam respond to that. Pam, capitalism,
Yes.
Ms. Flanagan, Pam Flanagan, capitalism equals to war, and I tend to agree with that.
Everything, once again, is based upon power. See, capitalism does not have to equal war, but
it
power,
does, right?
Power is what really equals to war. People have war because they want power. You asked the question about why do they want to destabilize a country. The reason being is called power. Some people don't even really care about money. They care about power and control. Power. People want power.
So why not control the people by paying them livable wages?
Well,
why
once
not control
again-
people by offering infrastructure in hospitals?
Once again,
I mean, hell, you can control the ninjas here. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is give them a job and they good to go. They red, white, and blue. Barack Obama. So, I mean, what's the problem?
once again, he started off with saying something about the evil mind state. When you understand one thing, kill, steal, destroy. You can destroy a whole nation of people if you destroy their mind first. You can
Right, give them the Bible, huh?
We're not even talking about the Bible.
I'm just- okay,
I'm
I'm
leave the
just
Bible
messing-
out
go
of
ahead,
this.
go ahead.
You
I'm
don't
leaving
want to
the
talk
Bible.
about the Bible, because then I start talking about the Word of God. See, we're
Right.
gonna leave that out of here. I'm just talking about simple.
She gonna get this work today.
We're
Now
just
go ahead.
talking
She gonna
about-
get this work. Okay, go ahead.
Y'all, our TV audience, y'all see how he like to interrupt me. So
It's
trying
okay.
to
Go
throw me
ahead.
off
Pam. I ain't
track
gonna- Go
here.
ahead. Go ahead.
But I'm just trying to keep it really simple with you. It's about power. Everything is about power. Control and power. Whether you're rich or poor. And then you talk about people only know two things, capitalism and socialism. Incorrect. They also know communism. And if you put them all together, capitalism is about control. Socialism is about control. We're going to control how much you're going to get, when you're going to get it, and how you're going to get it. Communism is about control. It's just the method in which you use it in. Some is we want to have equal equity exchange, which is fake. It just appears that we're going to allow
Okay, well,
you.
let me make
It's
a
all
quick
still about
hold on, let me
control.
make a quick correction, because communism and socialism allows the workers to have a set wages based on, like, if we all are part of a corporation, we get equal out of the profit, meaning you don't have just one person being Dave private.
That's right.
He deciding our wages. The whole, whether it be capitalism, socialism, decide the wages.
There's always going to be one person in control. Whether you have the king and you have all this socialism right here. You're going, even if it's a one pot of, it could be 10 people, but this one body is still going to be controlled. It's always still, this whole world system, we're going to talk about the world, it's based upon controlling the
So what's
people.
your solution, man?
Period.
What's your solution? Wait on Jesus to come back and fix everything? What's your solution?
He just want to talk about Jesus. He wants to
I
get
mean,
saved
I'm
today,
just saying.
people. I'm leaving Jesus out of this today. He want to get saved.
I'm just
born
saying,
again,
wait on
and
the Lord to
sanctified.
come solve
You know
our
what?
economical problems.
If he keeps me on this show, he might change his name from being an atheist until we ain't gonna put a Christian term on it.
How about
I'm leaving Jesus out of this.
All right, Pam, we're going to come back to you.
Leaving
Dave,
Christianity out of this. I'm trying to.
Dave. Economical solutions here. I mean, all this rubber, because one of the guests, she was going to be on here, but she, butt naked, brought back too many bad memories, so she declined. But she owns some property with some rubber, and you got rubber all over, just bursting out of the ground. I mean, what's the problem, man? Why? She talk about control. I mean, why not, offer a solution?
The problem is we give up our control to the wrong people instead of keeping the control within.
Okay.
And operating in with that can control and then servicing the folks who want to be in control with our product.
Okay.
So it's so easy to come in and stem and take from us. You look over in Liberia how they came in and took their resources and didn't spend no time of trying to clean up the water, didn't spend no time of staying there for giving some type of aid for all the Brava houses.
That's right.
We spoke in a video that spoke about the Brava houses.
Exactly.
You got all this disease that's kind of
AIDS.
stemming on, going from generation to generation and generations. You have, and I mean, it's just a very sick mindset.
That's right.
It's a total sick mindset, but to be in control of your own mindset, to be in control over your own product, instead of someone else having a foot to neck and controlling you, and you giving up your arms and your arms and everything that goes along with it.
If I could, kind of tie all those together, from the Christianity to controlling one's economics, those both of them seem like a form of education. Like give General Butnick, for example, all he needed was one revelation and somebody to give him a Bible for him to transform his whole agenda.
Right.
From
becoming a vegetarian. Wow.
Whether you validate Christianity and its origins and what it's done on the planet or not, however you feel about it, you have to acknowledge the fruit of the tree for what it did for that one man. And now he has the power, or at least has a motivation, inspiration to now use the rest of his lifetime, if he chooses to stay consistent, to actually do some good things for the people. And wherever that motivation, inspiration came from, it looks like it came from being converted.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. So you think when the UN pulls out, you think he'll go back to being General Butnick?
That's for him to choose. Now, with regard to my perception of him, that's a difficult decision to make when you know how to assemble an army in a matter of a day, and you got people shooting at you, and you have all the wherewithal to shoot back. But that's the type of life-changing moment where Christ will really show you if that man has been converted or not.
Yeah, because I remember he said, and anybody can jump in, he said he saw a white woman. So I'm thinking that same white woman can tell him to go back to war. I'm just saying, if you
It's
got
very
that
true.
revolution, I mean, Dave,
I think just based on what I had saw and looking at it from front to back and back to forward, when the UN pulls up out of that, he said something in a clip that, I think they were the photographers or interviewers, they were trying to find him, and they end up being at his hotel where the photographer stayed at, and they were like, we're looking for him, but he was at their hotel.
Right.
That type of mindset, you're on a run. And I just know people, when they're on this type of mindset and when they really change, they get away from their change.
right.
I just see that as soon as the UN pulls up out of there, you go back to your habits, which you were pretty much profoundly have done for so long, because that blanket of protection, that blanket of word, that blanket of instruction is up out. You have to look at it. When that was imposed in there, that country was under something. Although they were still
That's
doing
right.
their
And they
thing.
still are.
Yeah, although they're still doing their thing, pull it out totally.
Can I say
You're not
something?
used to that.
Yes, please.
Once again, he made a very good point. It depends on your conviction. How much would you really change? Because if he has the knowledge, the ability, the wherewithal to build up an army for bad, he could also take the same God-fearing strength and build up this army and revolution for good.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Same power. It's equal. Negative and good, even though good always outweighs equal, depending on how hard you fight.
Okay.
It's the same. It's like a battery. The negative and the positive can work together.
Okay.
So a drug dealer, he's a businessman. He can hustle. If he can take that same energy, he might even start him a Fortune 500 corporation.
Okay.
So he can take his same evil power and turn it and use it for good for the people and help them rise up and build up a new Liberia.
Okay, so now
Just a positive note.
that we kind of brushed on Liberia, I'm gonna bring it home and I'm gonna bring it back to Liberia. We're gonna kind of bring it together because you have people, just like General Butt Naked turned from evil to good, you have some people here in America that feel that our government might be turned good to evil, and it depends on how you interpret it. So they want to keep their guns. They want to keep their automatic weapons. They want to represent the Second Amendment. And I've had some people tell me personally, no, Blackson, it's not about hunting. No, we don't trust the government. And so, they're making all this hoopla about, banning weapons, and it's going back and forth, arming armed guard police officers in the schools, and we want to cut down the clips of weapons, and, all this talk about hunting, but that has nothing to do with now, I've been told it has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment protects the people against the government from being tyrannical.
Yeah, if I may.
Yes, please.
I've agree with that interpretation of the Second Amendment.
Okay.
And just having been exposed and being on the more melanated side of of American history,
Yes.
I can definitely appreciate the value of having weaponry and
Yes.
and being in control of that aspect of your life and having
Mindsets. Just because they was just like the Tea
So do we
Party.
take away
and
people's
say,
guns or not, Ms. Pam Flanagan?
We would take away. We would let people have the right to bear arms, but not semi-automatic weapons.
Wait a minute. It says right to bear arms. It doesn't
Well,
state
I'm telling
a pea
you-
shooter or an AK-40. It just says right to bear arms. And the Constitution states that the people have the right to defend themselves.
we also have
Why
the
don't you
right
debate
to
with
we
me
always
all the
have
time?
to
I'm telling you,
That's
I'm
what
not
I'm
debating.
debating.
we also have the right to amend the Constitution.
That's right.
In terms of the change in times, the
Okay.
change of the situation, and we have the right to interpret the Constitution, and through at least the judges can interpret the Constitution on the federal level. So there is some gray area to change or adjust to the social situation. The right to bear arms is great in a society where people are making conscious decisions, but the right to bear arms is not so great in, at the mental hospital,
Okay.
So you have to kind of you have to be real the way you look at the situation. It's like, okay, what is the situation I'm actually dealing with here? Who's who in this, this whole situation, the social situation?
Okay.
For me, I'm kind of like on what you said. I agree with that, but on the other side, I'm thinking along these lines too. I'm thinking about all these executive orders that's out there in place.
That's right.
So
Tell
I'm
it,
thinking
Dave.
about the executive order that the military and the government has the right to arrest you, put you in jail. And we just got to saying about the federal judges. You are not able to go to court. There is no
That's right.
lawyer there for you. They keep you in jail based on their discretion. So that's just telling me all what our amending, they have things in plan. So I understand where you come from, and we're seeing that aspect play out, but I just know where we're living this very wicked time. There are some cards that's stacked up against the people to control them.
Yeah.
With the foot to the neck. There's just so much stacked up to control them. And then also when you said the right to go ahead on and bear arms. For myself, I'm not that type of person who's gonna be turning my guns and stuff for
That's right.
for a feat. You know what I mean? Give me some feet right around Christmas time or what have you at the end of the year, wherever they tend to
That's right.
collect this. I'm not the one. I'm keeping all mine.
That's right.
You
God
know what I'm
bless
saying?
America and the guns.
Yeah, I'm keeping all mine and then some.
God bless America and the guns and the extended clips.
Exactly. Whatever it takes to
Yeah,
do
some
whatever
dip
certain
in there, too.
job, whatever it takes to do a certain job at that time, then that's what I'll go ahead on and use because it's my right to bear arms. I came from Oakland, California, when I was little. At that time, there was the Black Panthers going up
That's
to
right. Reagan, yeah, I remember
exactly.
that. Yeah,
They
talk
went up
about
there
that.
to Sacramento, and they had the right to bear arms. And see, at that time, the policemen didn't understand what was going on because they didn't even know what was in place.
That's right.
They didn't even know what was in place. So when you get someone who interprets it and reads it and puts it into action and in motion and you can see it, now it becomes a problem because you operated their own rule.
Can I say something?
Okay, before you do, hold on. Let me say 770-559-2999. Y'all calling to get some of this Pam.
So you have to
Flanagan.
understand the motivation of why people want to bear arms. If you say, I want to bear arms because I want to protect myself and my family,
Okay.
fine. I want to protect myself against the government. Okay, if that's your motivation. But I want the right to bear arms so I can go out and rob the next person on the street.
Right.
I want the right to bear arms so I can go down here and bomb up the Twin Towers or the...
Okay.
You have to understand the mental state of individuals. And I mean, we all supposed to have the right. I mean, the Constitution, the Second Amendment, these laws have been written many, 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 many years ago. And at the particular time, you wasn't even considered a real human being. So you have to look
Okay,
at...
well, let me give the interpretation that I've been given by some of my fellow white brethren up in the hills there. They said, Blackson, we want to keep our guns to protect our Constitution and we protect ourselves against a tyrannical government. And so if they come in here and get our guns, they gonna have to deprive from our dead bodies because we ain't not giving up our guns. It ain't about deer hunting, it's about protecting ourselves against tyranny. So how about that interpretation?
Protect yourself against a bomb, a drone, and every other electromagnetic wave that can still come into your house because you have a ton of semi-automatic weapons where you shooting out in the field every day, target practicing. I mean, you have to understand the mental state of some of these people. How much do they really hate the government? How much are they conspiring
Well,
to...
they may not just trust the government.
Well,
you understand
people,
what I'm
some
saying?
people don't even vote because they don't trust the government.
Well,
So
we
it
understand
depends
that,
on
right.
the mental, everything once again goes back, like I told you, this is all a mind thing here. Who controls the food, controls the money. Who controls the money, controls the people. Who controls the guns, it's all about, once again, control, period.
And we
Bottom
can
line.
brush the problems very beautifully, but we're here for solutions.
Okay.
These people want their guns. I interpret the Constitution as they interpret to me as they want to protect themselves against a tyrannical government.
Well, if I go and put...
Dave?
You're right about that, and I think what you just spoke about, who controls the food and the guns, Henry Kissinger said that real well.
right.
Henry
He sure
Kissinger
did.
said that real well. But we must do like you see other groups do. You know, I have some Asian brothers.
That's right.
They don't give a damn what the government does.
That's right.
They break it. They don't. You can make all types of rules. Their money, their business, their food, everything is planned out. I have some Hispanic brothers the same way. When I look into our community, we're riffing and raffing, and we have a lot of stuff around here that keeps us off focus, or reality shows, or playing games,
Like
or
10 baby mamas.
10 baby, whatever it may be. We have all these different types of distractions keep us from them. I had set in at one of my Asian friends' home. Every Friday they come in and they sit around a table just like this, and everyone puts into the pot how much they made during that week. And they go to a chart and they say, this house is down the street at such and such. We having family members that come into town. We're going to buy this house. We have the down payment to do such and such. If we can't get that agent moved up out of there and put an agent in of our ethnic
That's
group
right.
to keep the money within our community, this is what we need to do. And they sit and plan. They don't give a damn about no laws or anything.
Can I say something real quick?
Well, let's.
It's really...
They
okay,
do.
well,
They
okay,
do.
hold that thought,
Let me write it down.
because
Okay.
Because I forget.
I want to. Okay, well, you want to here write that down.
It's fine. She can
Okay, go ahead.
I want to say something. Your friend that's up in the mountains that said, I want to keep these rights to bear these semi-automatic weapons.
That's right.
Now, if every homeboy in the West End had the opportunity and the money and the perfect background check to be able to hold a semi-automatic weapon and go into Burger King every day and we have our open concealed semi-automatic weapon, I guarantee you they would change their whole mindset.
That's right.
If we had the power right now, every one brother, every sister, to hold these semi-automatic weapons as they want to have, they would change their mindset. That's all I have to say on that.
And it's so funny that you said that about that, the West End, and it goes back to what I was thinking about with my Asian friend. They have all the problems that's generated within society. Like, for instance, crack cocaine is noticed as being as a felony. You get caught. You see what I'm saying?
Vibration.
Oh, we got a phone call. Okay.
Caller?
Caller. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
Well, just like as you get caught with crack cocaine, it's a
Right.
felony.
That's right.
Well, then if you get caught with powder, it's a misdemeanor. So what they tend to look at, they're like, listen, these are the things that's going to get us caught in felonies.
That's right.
These are the things that's going to keep you from doing all the things that you need to do. These are the things right here where you play the rule.
Okay. Caller, go ahead.
Or you play the game.
I heard you guys talking about the gun issue. You want to keep your guns and everything, but America's putting up such a big fight for that. Where was the big fight when George Bush kicked in the wiretapping? Where was all our fights for that? I think our civil liberties are all gone as it is, and we worried about some guns.
Well, I think what it is, when you talk about civil liberties, I mean, now the people that I talk to, they look at the guns as a tool of protection, meaning that that's the last bastion of defense that they might have. Some people have guns, some people have Bibles, and some people rely on the Constitution. So what I'm saying is that at the birth of this country, the man with the gun had the man with the power. When he went over to Africa, it was the man with the cannon. So that gun represents that power. I think Pam Flanagan was talking about it. So
but when there's no privacy and they know what you do before you do it, or know when you do it when you do it, there's no sense of having a gun, because they'll know when you pull your trigger. They know when you go to the gun range. They know when you buy your bullets. They get you before you can do anything. Because most people go to Facebook. Most people go on their websites to communicate. Most people use phones or text messages. The government already knows what you're doing as soon as you hit send.
Well, it's very important to accept that as a possibility, but simultaneously not to experience it as your reality. Just because somebody can watch you and hear you does not mean that you should change, like the brother said, change any way of moving because of that. Just because somebody's aware of what you're doing, there's no secrecy. Just because he has the ability to go to those meetings with his Asian, constituents and sit in on what they're planning to do does not mean that they're going to change their plans. Oh, he knows about it now, so we're going to do something differently. No, they're going to stick to. We could all collectively, do something. And right now, there's not laws in place to keep us from gathering and planning whatever it is we want to do, and as long as it's not illegal. So it's very important when dealing with conspiracy theories to never allow them to affect you, your psyche. Accept it as information that could possibly be true or possibly not be true, and just keep it moving in terms of what we want to accomplish.
Very good point. And basically, what he's saying, don't be spooked out, caller. So, what's your take on that, Ms. Flanagan? We're talking about government spying on people and tapping phones and changing people's behaviors, but based on what Dave was saying
Well, once again, as I said before, if you really look at the whole big picture, what's coming to pass in the very near future, which is already in place, like you said, the right to put people in prison.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this real quick.
Okay.
I'm going to start with you, and then I'm going to go around the table. How do we solve the problem with the guns? Because this relates to Liberia. I'm going to bring it around, but just what's your solution?
Well, I think the solution is keep the right to bear arms,
Okay.
but at the same time, you can also have that executive order where you cannot have a semi-automatic weapon.
Okay. So.
Period.
Okay. So no semi-weapons. So your solution is basically take away the weapons.
Semi-automatic weapons.
So if I have semi-automatic weapons, you're taking my weapons, right? Yes or no? Yes or no?
You have the right to
Yes
bear
or no?
a gun, but no semi-automatic
Dave.
weapons.
Dave, what's the solution here? Because she done danced around it. I own automatic weapons. What's
I gave
your
you the
solution?
answer.
I mean, well, it's kind of comes down to the interpretation of what is an arm,
Right.
And that's the whole thing that they're dealing with in the media today is what constitutes as an arm. It's been because when they designed the Constitution, they wanted it to be flexible. They wanted it to be able to adapt with time. So they use these words to have, different interpretations. So like somebody said, oh, does that mean I can have a tank? Does that mean I can have a missile?
Exactly.
Okay.
So it all comes down to, what is necessary. Somebody may say, I need an automatic weapon. It fits in my arm, and it's the length of both my arms, so why can't I have it? So
Bazooka.
where do you draw the line?
That's the way I feel. Because, I mean, if you show something on TV to me and you show something like wow, man, I mean, like, did you see what it just did with that clip? Why can't I have it?
That's right.
I got the right I'm not going to go out there. Now, if I go out there and do something wrong and shoot somebody and do something ill mannered, then punish me.
Right.
But if I want that right to have that, well, I should have it.
It seems like people are mostly afraid of the potential of something. Like every now and again, somebody will go out and shoot up a whole bunch of people, or somebody gets a sniper weapon, they start picking people off, a weapon falls into the wrong hands. And people are afraid of the potential, so they try to use that fear to then put in some type of act where nobody can have, none of the competent people can have these things just because a few insane, incompetent people get them. And that's really not the way to try to make social, order.
Okay, Virginia Tech, you guys are aware that was not an automatic weapon, right? Everybody?
Yeah,
Are we in agreement on that?
Yeah,
Yes.
pistols,
That was right. So,
handguns at least.
So, I mean, the potential is still there.
Absolutely.
I mean, I can take a 9mm with a magazine of 9.
And
Let's
kill
just-
Trayvon Martin, right?
Right,
There
so
you
I'm
go.
saying the
Yeah, it's a
potential is still there.
mental-
So
a
where do we
mental-
define it? My thing is, because Pam, you had said, let's just ban the semi-automatic weapons. And my mind is it's like this. You have weapons that have that same potential that don't have extended clips. You can do it with a 9mm, you can do it with a revolver, you can do it with a 380. I can go down the list of type of weapons that can do the same type of harm.
357.
So when a person, 357, right. So my thing is, and I agree with the brother here, is that where do you define it? Because, like I said, I'm in the woods, I ain't got no felonies, I ain't got no mental illnesses, I got my automatic weapons, and like I said, I don't trust the government.
Well, this is why right now we're putting a definition on what the arms are. Like he was saying, we have to have social adjustment. Right now, in today's society, we're going to ban semi-automatic weapons. 5 years from now, we may say you can have them again, depending on who is the president, depending on what the Tea Party is pushing, depending on what the lobbyists are pushing. Right now, the lobbyists make the rules.
Dave,
Those
that
with the
doesn't
money
sit with
make
you
the
too
rules. This
well.
is bottom line. This is how it is. Truth is truth. It is what it is, as they say where I come from.
That doesn't seem to sit too well with you, Dave.
The lobbyists do make the rules, and everyone is getting paid off to do this and that at the end of the day. My thing is this, if we define arms, what works for us, say for instance, everybody at this table says, semi-automatic weapons work for us. I mean, 18 in a clip, whatever
If
it
it
may
fits
be.
in your arm,
Right.
Exactly, but I'm saying
Yeah.
that if we say what we just got to say, we define this since there's so many different types of variations to that word of arm. Like you said earlier, the Constitution was written sometime way back, and so as time goes this way, that arm can go based on time to fit that certain type of definition. Well, it didn't mean like that 30 years ago, but now for arms, back then it didn't mean you can have semi-automatic weapons. It means that you can just have a 357 Magnum. We come up in the 21st century where everybody got semi-automatics and say, well, this works fine for us. The powers that be who are in control will come in and see that whenever you have a comfortable adjustment, the power of bees that come up and they will unravel the waters.
Well, you know what?
At all times.
And I'm glad you said it, because if you go back in time, and it said the citizens have the right to protect themselves, and it say nothing about gaming, shooting rabbits, shooting
Right.
deer, shooting dogs and cats,
Right.
shooting possums out of the tree. It said nothing about that. It said the citizens protecting themselves.
I'd like to make it very clear that we are oftentimes we get into the pattern of saying they have the power. We give our power away, especially with our words. And it's very important to say in this very Constitution that gives us these rights, it says we the people.
Right.
So at the end of the day, we could all collectively say these is what we consider arms. And as long as there's a vast majority of us, these people want to get elected. That's the way the process really works. Now we bring money into the game and we say, okay, money influences their decision. But honestly, if you've seen V for Vendetta, if you've seen political movements take place, it's really the power of the people. I mean, the power is always going to be in the people because we give them the money through our taxation.
And once again, if you don't get out and vote and participate and use your power, those with the money are going to always overrule.
So, okay, so then, because I'm glad that we're talking about voting and, being democratic because, Dave, those weapons over in Liberia, they come from us, don't they?
Exactly.
Because Liberia is an extension of America, pretty much.
Exactly. You had, like I spoke earlier about the red, white, and blue flag.
Mm-hmm.
That's an extension of us that shows that type of presence. So, with those weapons, like the man spoke in video when he said, "Listen, if worst come to worst, I need these guns." The United Nations. If I have to get these guns from the United Nations and stuff, I'll do what I have to do.
That's right.
To get these guns. And
so I get it. So you can be a criminal as long as you be a criminal for us.
Exactly.
To serve our purpose.
Exactly.
Because you got people over there randomly raping people and murdering people, robbing people, but and they're sending guns over there. So I'm trying to figure out. So as long as we're criminals, as Pam Flanagan said about banning guns from the criminals. So as long as we're criminals working for the government, then we're all good, then, right?
Well, the guns can be in place, and what Pam is, what I feel Pam is, the point she's really bringing forward, is that it's a mind state, and she brings it back to the family, and the community. We have to take responsibility for each other's mind. If your neighbor is going, and you can tell they're going through something, it is your responsibility to ask them, how are you doing? What is your day like? It is our responsibility as a collective community to do that so that we don't have all of these situations. I had friends growing up. Many times were going through suicidal thoughts,
right.
And these types of life stresses that just brought them to a place where they were considering hurting themselves, if not whether it be a bug or whatever. So it's our responsibility to identify that, those who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, to see that they're taking responsibility for their environment, and that will preempt the next butt naked from happening. Because everybody has the potential to be that, but it's all about what fed into you, who fed into you, who are your mentors, what lessons did they give you in life.
Okay.
So guns don't pull their own triggers. It's the people and the motivations their social constructs.
So what's your solution? We got, people trying to define what's arms, and people, we need it for hunting, and they keep bringing up hunting, and that's really, go ahead.
You notice that when we're speaking about this, about the guns, and I was just sitting here just thinking and was listening to the brother talk. Do you notice that every country that's out there who stands up and revolutionizes against their government for something that they feel is opposed on, they don't have the guns to fight their government. They're out in the streets throwing rocks. But you have to look at the countries that do have guns. Every time you see a country that do have guns that's taking force over the people, the red, white, and blue had some force up off in that government.
Oh, like Israel and Gaza.
Exactly, to give those guns. If you really look at it and break it down, it's been like that for generations.
Okay.
And I'm just sitting here just thinking, I'm like, wow, I'm thinking over in Egypt, they throw the run, they got the stuff covered up their mouth from the tear gas or what have you, the gases and stuff. But when guns are given to people from us, the red, white, and blue, it's imposed against their people. And another thing too, with that, there are other countries in this world that knows that when a red, white, and blue comes in, there may be a need, like for instance, what was that, Thailand or Bangkok, when they had that flood. When it came time for the United States to send help over, they told the United States, do not land these planes down here, because they know the history. When the United States land their planes down somewhere, they're in control. They said, drop it from the sky.
Okay.
Same thing with Idi Amin. Drop your food from the sky. Don't land your planes down here, because once you land, you're in control. You want to come and see what can I do, and when you come in and see what can I do, you're in here to take over.
That sounds like a solution there, Dave.
You don't let them land.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
You don't let them land.
All right, we're gonna close that. So I want everybody real quick. So Pam, she's saying take away the semi-automatics. Dave, what's your solution with that?
Keep them.
Keep them, yes.
I got to keep mine.
And your solution?
Don't know my child.
We have to definitely define arms, and everybody, as a nation, understand that these definitions change with time.
Okay.
But for now, I say we keep our weapons.
Okay, so everybody for aye, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You outvoted.
It doesn't matter.
So we on the arena, Human Rights Council, we want to keep our automatic guns with the extended clips because we want to protect ourselves from tyranny, and injustice. So we are okay.
Even if you kept those guns, you can never beat the military.
Exactly.
I always remember that. I don't care if you can have your whole house and all your guns under the ground. You will not beat nuclear bombs, drones, or the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. So stay with peace, follow the law, and you don't have to worry about that.
It's funny that you mentioned
you will never
military
beat the
because
military.
Most of I think the Zetas are trained by the military. So I'm glad she brought that up.
Yes.
The Zetas are trained by the military.
Yes.
So they go as mercenaries to South America. So thank you very much,
They go
Pam
to
Flanagan.
America's Georgia also.
America's Georgia. I mean, we can go down a list of countries that's trained by X. And most of these guys sitting up in the woods, I've been in the military. I know how they work. So I'm glad you brought that up. Military trained. God bless America. God bless the guns. God bless the extended clips. God bless nuclear weapons. God bless the nuclear submarines. God bless the napalm. And God bless America. Peace. We out.
There we go.
Yeah, they think it's a game and fail to use they on some lame outdated books that's weighing down they. Even though the same teaches not to use ya, that's insane. So here is just something else for ya. Teach it to you when you're young. Asking for evidence isn't fun now. Same dated creation myths when you trying to convert someone. I'll join tomorrow. Heaven to hell or promote sorrow. You mean to tell me you need someone else to tell you that slavery, rape, and murder is wrong, huh? And start serving them all. No burning the crosses or sick holocausts. Make them rewrite the Bible with my verses and psalms. I tend to write better songs. Get off, not just yours, I mean every God. The lyrical rendition of Bill Maher's religionless. Some serious religion is bullshit and we're sick of it, now deal with it. Hey, yeah, you gotta use your, all I really